Battle rap is important to me. I'm obsessed with it. I remember my first exposure to battle rap as a kid. It was in 8 Mile watching Eminem play B Rabbit. It was this one-off thing that even then I knew, as a young onlooker, I would never get to experience, be it as a member of the crowd or as one of those people spitting. And it was beautiful. I was getting a glimpse at a culture that I knew even back then I could never fully comprehend or even fathom. But then came my second exposure to battle rap. It was this YouTube two-parter between this guy, who I didn't even know back then, who was rhyming his ass off, spouting really quotable punchlines, and this other dude who was waxing incoherently but poetically about feces and beating up carabaos. Or were they horses? I'm not even sure anymore. And they were doing it in my language, and it was beautiful. Battle rap is popular in the Philippines. That's a non-controversial statement, so let's push further. Right now, there is no other country in the world where battle rap is more popular than in the Philippines. Now that's a controversial statement, but it's true. See, battle rap is a component of hip-hop. It's a subcategory of rap. Its existence is owed and tied intrinsically to African American culture, and you would think that the progenitors of this genre, this movement, this thing that we call hip-hop would have not just the biggest stake in battle rap, which they do, but also the biggest singular platform for it, but they don't. We'll get back to the topic of culture in a bit. The truth of the matter is, it's this league in the Philippines that was founded just 14 years ago by a Kanyo Chinoy kid and his peers that stands head and shoulders above the rest as the biggest rap battle league in the world. Why is that? One can say it's novelty, but if it is, then the league wouldn't have this kind of longevity, this kind of consistency when it comes to view count, this kind of relevance to this day in the cultural zeitgeist, or more importantly, this kind of potency to make legitimate superstars out of people. You can only be a flash in the pan for so long, right? One can say it's internet virality in the fact that us Filipinos are so chronically online, us being the second most online country in the world, but we have to remember, Fliptop isn't just online. It relies a lot on live ticket sales and live attendance. That's why it's called a league to begin with. The fact that it's consistently been selling out live crowds and filling up moderately sized to big venues proves that there's actual hardcore support, nay, patronage for it. No, I think the answer is far simpler. I think it's because we Filipinos just love rap. No, it's that Filipinos, be it as artists or fans, have become so obsessed with it.
Yo, game! Game!
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm aware that there are some individual rap battle videos from other leagues which, to their credit, have bigger view counts than the most viewed Fliptop video. Take these two for example. But if you look at Fliptop as a whole, take the aggregate number of its views or its YouTube subscribers, you would see how big a gap there is between the number 1 league in the world and the 2s and 3s, special exceptions aside. But this isn't about sheer number or pitting one rap battle league against the other. Not even about importance in a global scale. This is more a deep dive into cultural relevance. This is more about begging the question, why is one of hip-hop's components, battle rap, an art form that for the longest time we didn't even know existed, and when we finally did, we didn't even know what to do with, now so important to us, is now such an obsession here in the Philippines? Let's lay the predicate. I don't completely have the answers. All this is an attempt to make sense of this phenomenon. All this is an earnest take that stems from my personal analysis, backed up by a few references, of course. And I hope that this analysis can serve as a baseline to those who've had the same question, be it Filipino or not, so that we can come to an understanding and formulate our own answers. Additionally, I hope that this can serve as a sort of invitation for everyone else to give their reason as to why battle rap is so important to them personally. I think this obsession boils down to 3 things: culture, artistic evolution, and a sense of ownership. Let's talk about them. Culture. We need to talk about rap and hip-hop as a whole, both its actual origins and what it looks like in the Philippines. According to various sources, specifically the book Can't Stop Won't Stop by Jeff Chang, the hip-hop movement as we know it today was born in the Bronx in New York, with its first pillar being DJing. Rap then followed as its complement. Hip-hop's sound originally drew from influences such as African, African-American, gospel, and Jamaican sounds. The sonic qualities and the lyrical content embedded in hip-hop and rap were born as a consequence of and continue to progress as a direct response to the poor living conditions in these aforementioned places. Rap was a means by which these earlier MCs could express, dream, and brag freely. And eventually it became a tool by which they could fight back to express their grievances against the institutions that oppressed them. Hip-hop is a social movement that has multicultural influences, and rap is rebellion music that, apart from being such a liberating creative outlet, brought to the forefront of Western consciousness the social issues pervading the African Americans' everyday life. And it became such an inextricable part of their culture because it was freeing. But as the world back then started becoming more shared, we borrowed it. And maybe the reason why we borrowed it was because we resonated with the sound and movement so much. Historically, we're a multicultural state that's been oppressed by multiple external forces, and the flames of the revolution gave birth to our very own, very rough, very primitive offshoot of battle rap, the balagtasan, as a byproduct. We tried it first, albeit very differently, and without the sound and lyricism we associate with hip-hop. Maybe it's just a human thing to design a creative outlet like hip-hop, like the balagtasan, when faced with oppression. To this day, as a people, we're still faced with internal, systemic oppression. Politicians that don't give a shit, poverty rates, crime rates, poor education, the 8-to-5 grind that crushes us daily. These are all things akin to what the progenitors of hip-hop faced back in the day. And don't get it twisted, when rap first made its way into the Philippines, sure, it was no more than parody. But as it started to take root in our culture and we started taking it more seriously and making it our own, artists began using it as a means to express their qualms against the system. And that organic evolution of hip-hop in the Philippines, from parody to acts like Death Threat and Pamilya Di Magiba, Francis M. and Glock, and eventually undeniable modern classics like Collateral, I think, is what justifies our borrowing and eventual assimilation of that movement. That's our proof of concept, and that's partly why it's so embedded in our culture now. We learned how to use it and use it creatively, the same way its progenitors did. And as our version of hip-hop evolved, we evolved with it, be it as artists or music listeners. We grew with it, and that's why we have such an affinity and a strong sense of ownership over it. But more on that subject later. Where is battle rap in all this, though? Exactly where it had to be and exactly where it deserves to be right now. Battle rap is a component of hip-hop. It's a subcategory of rap. Here in the Philippines, it lived and breathed within Filipino hip-hop as part of rap, with its own unique contributions to the culture, which we'll get to in a bit. Back then, we were still trying to understand what hip-hop was to us. It was more of a side piece, but now, hearkening back to what I said earlier, it's at the very forefront of the discussion when it comes to Filipino rap. It's actually what fuels the day-to-day hip-hop discussions in the Philippines. Who's your favorite Fliptop rapper? Did you watch this battle? What's your favorite quotable? The same way we learned to take ownership of and evolve with rap as a whole, the same happened to battle rap, and this brings me to my next discussion. Evolution. According to Lupe Fiasco, rap, apart from being a specialized form of written and spoken language, is a microcosm of life, a play on macro decisions, micro decisions, and surprise. And I think that's a fair baseline definition to what rap is. Rap is broad and fluid. It changes with the times, shifts between artists and styles and influences and era. There isn't a single stringent structure that has to be followed when we talk about rap, but we know what it is when we hear it. The same applies to battle rap. And akin to how rap in the Philippines started off as parody, battle rap was commonly associated with surface-level comedy back in the day. Not that comedy is a bad thing, it's always been an element of hip-hop. And not that there weren't any quote-unquote serious battle rappers back in the day, there definitely were. What's more, we can't deny the absolute wealth of cultural contributions that comedy gave us during this prepubescent era of Philippine battle rap. But as battle rappers learned to understand the art form more, it evolved. Evolution was gradual, but it was felt. For each new Fliptop event, it seemed like there would be one or two battle MCs who'd introduce a couple new techniques that shifted the paradigm for battling, and other rappers followed suit. Whether it was Looney's knack for delivering setups that made coherent sense first before delivering the perfect witty punchline, or his multisyllabics that forced everyone to rhyme better, Syed's very visceral visual imagery, uncanny mastery over the vernacular, and refusal to compromise his artistic vision that paved the way for more left-field MCs. Batas's purest form of battle rap that focused on delivering punchline after punchline after punchline. Shay's addiction to sniping the most hurtful angle, which informed his sheer audacity and irreverence towards other people's private lives. The 3GS group's meta-analysis and breakdown of other MCs' rap styles. And the innumerable amount of contributions that Balakid brought to the table, such as structure, pacing, wordplay, schemes, delivery, sensible analogies, and his addiction to bringing forward new concepts to every battle. Evolution was technical and artistic, where we were once listening to pure surface-level comedy that sometimes just rhymed for the sake of rhyming. There were those MCs that innovated, and through competition they helped each other innovate, they helped each other get better. And as a result, the league, and consequently rap battle as a whole, became better for it. And while this was all happening, gradually, slowly, without even recognizing it, we were already watching an art form completely different from what it was in its original iteration. And we enjoyed it. We, as fans, grew and evolved with it. Rap is broad and fluid. It changes with the times and the era. And this holds true for Philippine battle rap. One day, someone new will come along to shake things up again, and who knows, maybe we might go back to something simpler. Maybe someone can start a comedy renaissance in Fliptop. Maybe in a few years, battle rap will again be something completely different from what it is now. Maybe 2-on-2 battles will come back again. Please, Enigma? But I digress. The fact that we experienced how battle rap evolved, and the fact that we evolved along with it, informs the sense of ownership we have over it, partly. Because we were there, in the trenches, through Fliptop's weird prepubescent phase, but also to its highest highs, whether watching live or at home, experiencing everything for the first time. But on the subject of ownership, evolution is just one aspect of it. We hold Philippine battle rap so near to our hearts because of other reasons, and I'm sure most of you know what I'm talking about. Let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle.
Mag-ingay tayo para sa atin lahat.
Ownership. There are things we can never take actual or formal ownership of, a favorite movie or song, for example. Of course, we can have physical ownership over a legitimate copy of that movie or record, but that's 1 out of a million other copies. And what you're signing up for is ownership over the right to consume that media in that form, not actual ownership over the IP. And ownership over its consumption in that specific form is shared with everyone else who has a copy. What am I getting at? It's that this sense of ownership that a lot of us have over our favorite movie or song, sports team or artist is psychological. Studies tell us that psychological ownership is the feeling of possession over a target, be it an object, concept, organization, or other person. It's a type of ownership that's not just informed by actual possession, but investment in personal stake. When we take psychological ownership over something, that which we take ownership of becomes an expression of who we are and where we belong. Our sense of ownership over Filipino hip-hop, Philippine battle rap, for example, it's all psychological. No individual person owns Filipino hip-hop. There is no president or CEO that would tell you what is or isn't hip-hop. And if someone says or does otherwise, correct them. There is no alpha or omega entity we should answer to before something passes as hip-hop enough or real enough. Bas is not real, and if someone says otherwise, correct them. Hip-hop is a movement that we borrowed and assimilated, and it's up to all of us who love it so much to make it our own, and to make it positive. We owe that much to the people we borrowed it from, lest we risk the follies of misinterpreting and misunderstanding the culture and the movement to such a degree that we just use it as a tool to serve our own selfish needs. Lest we end up being people who tout that we're about the culture and that we live the hip-hop life while completely missing the mark, like some people I won't mention. But how exactly have we been taking ownership? What exactly are we taking ownership of? What does it even mean? Well, you, who's a hip-hop fan, or you, who might be a rapper, DJ, or beatboxer who's listening to this, you're already doing it. You already are practicing ownership over our form of hip-hop by being involved, by being invested, by having personal stake, by celebrating it. I've said that much from the start of this video. And that answers the how, now the what. Principally, what we're taking ownership of are those tenets that hip-hop has stood on for the longest time. Those lessons that we pick up from those records that moved us, those lines that are forever burnt in our heads. And I think most especially, it's those moments, and we'll get to those. The fact that we're willing to love this art form so much, to such a degree that we obsess over it. The fact that it's the outlet that we go to help us get through rough patches in our lives. The fact that we grew up watching it and we want our kids to watch it alongside us when they grow older. That's us exercising and building our sense of ownership over it, whether we recognize it or not. And it's justified. Fliptop invites this fandom. Amazing bars ask for your attention. The fact that someone signs up to be a battle MC means that they're open to being appreciated, being loved. So what you're feeling and thinking is justified. But why is our attachment so strong? Why this level of fandom? I said earlier that we watched Fliptop evolve, and partially that informs our attachment, but again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because it's not just the technical and artistic aspect that made us love and obsess over Fliptop. It's those moments, those singular, profound, lightning-in-a-bottle moments which have been captivating us for over a decade. Balakid emphatically declaring to the fans that he's in the top 5 of everyone in their top 5s.
Nasa top 5 ako na mga nasa top 5 nyo!
Lanzeta's round 2 versus Sak Maestro.
Mamanhid ka sa may sak parang anesthesia!
6 threats, underdog run, and eventual win. The Ahon 3 three-way, the Batas Tipsy Sak trilogy. All of Team LA versus Team SS. Protege putting Sin City on blast. GL calling out the old gods. The gods must be crazy. Shernan and Hazki being silly crossdressers. Smuglas putting Rapido on blast.
Ginagamit ka nga ba ng Diyos o ikaw yung gumagamit sa kanya?
Looney proving he's him.
Kung mahusay ka talaga, i-rebut mo lahat yun!
Your first taste of Delos rebuttals. Sinyo almost getting sued. Shay's redemption arc. Apex going beast mode.
Basta ko yung kakatawan sa katawa-tawa-kawatan ng patawan na to!
J Black putting everything out there and winning the crowd over. Sharon being called the Alaska Kid. And Looney asking if he could take a picture with Zaito.
Naniwala ka naman, sinasay ko lang kita.
And countless other moments that I haven't even listed down. No matter which era of Fliptop, whether modern or classic, these moments and the quotable lines, the reactions, the iconic imagery, the shock and awe that followed in their wake. They're now deeply embedded in the soul of hip-hop in the Philippines, some of them even transcending just rap and ingraining themselves in mainstream consciousness. This is the final piece of the puzzle. The beating heart of Fliptop. It's the other component. More than just the artistry and technical skill that these MCs put on display all the time, it's their ability to take you someplace else and make you focus on just that one singular moment. That's what got us hooked in the first place, and that's why we keep coming back. These artists owned those moments. And we, as fans, have a sense of ownership over those moments too. We were involved in them too. We were invited to watch along, take them all in, and talk about them, be it live or online. And I think if you take all of this into account, culture, evolution, ownership, I think that's enough to explain why we love this so much. That's why we're so obsessed. I honestly don't know how to end this video. Honestly, apart from doing my research, I had to look deep within my mind and soul to put all of this into words, to make tangible what I thought would just linger in my heart as a gut feeling forever. My sense of relief now that I've finally gotten to organize these incoherent thoughts and lay them out there for everyone is immeasurable. I love battle rap. It's important to me. It's important to a lot of us. If I'm being honest, when I first watched 8 Mile, I thought to myself that I wanted to be part of this culture. But I probably never will, and that's probably still true. But we have something just as good, and I'm part of this culture, even just as an onlooker. I watched it evolve and turn into something great, and I have a strong sense of ownership over this particular version of the art form now. I love it so fucking much. I'm so obsessed with it. The artistry, the technical ability, the moments. Fliptop's success has paved the way for other battle rap leagues in the Philippines, and I'm glad to see the scene thriving, breathing, enjoying success to this degree. It's proof of concept. It's what justifies why we have battle rap in the Philippines, and why it's so popular here. And I hope all of this just carries onward. Bye for now.